are richer for the time Will Ferguson spent with us. Thank you very much to the family.
I thank all members for their very heartfelt words. In a bittersweet way, it's a wonderful tribute as we come together, remove our shackles of partisan politics, and honor one of our own. But more importantly, to the family, we thank you for the gift of your loved one. As is the tradition, we will make a copy of Hansard and a video DVD available for the family. Thank you very much. It is now time for reports by committees. The member from Halton.
Thank you, Speaker. I beg leave to present a report from the Standing Committee on Social Policy, and I move its adoption.
Sure. Mr. Chudley from the Standing Committee on Social Policy presents the committee's report as follows and moves its adoption. Your committee begs to report the following bill as amended. Bill 36, an Act to enact the Local Food Act 2013, the title of which is amended to read, an Act to enact the Local Food Act 2013 and to amend the Taxation Act 2007 to provide for a tax credit to farmers for donating certain agricultural products that they have produced.
Member's not here. Shall the report be received and adopted? Agreed? Agreed. Pursuant to the standing order of the House dated October the 3rd, 2013, the bill is ordered for third reading. Reports by committees. Member from Toronto Danforth.
Leave to present a report from the Standing Committee on Regulations and Private Bills and move its adoption.
Mr. Tabbins from the Standing Committee on Regulations and Private Bills presents the committee's report as follows and moves its adoption. Your committee begs to report the following bill as amended. Bill 32, an Act respecting the Human Resources Professionals Association.
Shall the report be received and adopted? Agreed? Agreed. Pursuant to the order of the House dated October the 3rd, 2013, the bill is ordered for third reading. Reports by committees. The member from Glengarry, Prescott Russell.
Thank you very much, Speaker. I beg leave to present a report on the review of the Aggregate Resources Act from the Standing Committee on General Government and move the adoption of its recommendations.
Crack presents the committee's report and moves the adoption of its recommendations. Does the member wish to make a brief statement?
Well, thank you very much, Speaker. I'd like to commend all the members of the committee and legal counsel, Mr. Jerry Richmond, and the clerk, Sylvia Predjetsky, for all the good work that they've done. They've traveled the province and came up with an excellent report that thoroughly takes into consideration a lot of the input that was received by the committee from stakeholders and also from following the tour of many of the great aggregate facilities and sites throughout the province. So I move adjournment of the debate, Speaker.
Back moves the adjournment of the debate. Is the pleasure of the House the motion carried? Carried. Reports by committees. Last call for reports by committees. Introduction of bills. The member from Scarborough Rouge River.
I beg your indulgence that I could introduce Paula and Yvan Davis, who are here because they have an interest in this bill. I move that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Revive 434753 Ontario Limited, and it now be read for the first time.
Mr. Balkison moves that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Revive 434753 Ontario Limited, and it now be read for the first time. Is it the pleasure of the House the motion carried? Carried. Pursuant to Standing Order 86, this bill stands referred to the Standing Committee on Regulations and Private Bills. Oops.
This is a bill entitled An Act to Revive 434753 Ontario Limited.
Pursuant to Standing Order 86, this bill stands referred to the Standing Committee on Regulations and Private Bills. Introduction of bills. The member from Lanark-Frontenac-Lennox and Addington.
Much, Speaker. Speaker, I move that leave be given to introduce a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Election Act with respect to the recall of members of the Legislative Assembly, and that it now be read for the first time.
Thank you. Mr. Hillier moves that Lee begin to introduce a bill, an act to amend the Election Act with respect to recall of members of the Legislative Assembly, and it now be read for the first time. Is it the pleasure of the House the motion carried? Carried. Can you take this? Bring it to the table. Thank you.
This is a bill entitled An Act to Amend the Election Act with respect to the recall of members of the Legislative Assembly. First reading of the bill, Premier Lecture du Projet de Loi.
The member for a short statement.
Thank you, Speaker. Speaker, the Election Amendment Act, MPP Recall of 2013, the bill amends the Election Act to provide a process by which a member of the Legislative Assembly may be recalled in a by-election held to fill the vacant seat. An eligible voter in a member's electoral district can apply to the Chief Electoral Officer for the issuance of a recall petition. No application for the issuance of a recall petition may be made during a year following the member's election or 1 year before the next scheduled general election. A proponent of a recall petition has 60 days to return the petition to the Chief Electoral Officer with the signatures of eligible voters in the electoral district who represent at least 25% of the total number of votes in the last election held in that district. In that case, the seat of the member of the Assembly becomes vacant. A by-election is then held to fill the vacancy. The recalled member is free to be a candidate in the by-election. Thank you, Speaker.
Thank you. Further introduction of bills? Further introduction of bills? Last call for introduction of bills. Time for motions. Motion.